Today's video has been very kindly sponsored by Skillshare. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi, I'm Manusha. I'm an IMG doctor working here in London. I'm currently doing my co-training in the specialty psychiatry. I make videos about my IMG journey, my work life, travel and lifestyle. In today's video, I'm going to talk about NHS job application process, basically everything surrounding your first job application as an IMG in the NHS. I've got a lot of tips snuck inside this video, so keep your eyes and ears open. I've got my laptop right here where I've written down everything that I want to cover, and I'm also going to show you my NHS jobs profile, which I have left unchanged from the year 2018. Alright, so first things first, what exactly is NHS jobs website? Everybody mentions about this but really doesn't explain in detail. So you know, like how you have LinkedIn wherein people from various different professions apply for jobs, in a similar way you have NHS jobs website wherein people from different healthcare backgrounds can apply for the jobs. So right off the bat, here's your tip number one. Not only NHS jobs website, you should also be applying for jobs on something called Trac jobs. Just the way you would be applying for your jobs on NHS jobs website, in a similar way you would apply for jobs on Trac jobs website. Mind you, a lot of times what happens is that a lot of the advertisements that are shown on Trac jobs are not on NHS jobs website and vice versa. So it would be better if you apply for jobs on both the websites, but a lot of times there are similarities in the same trust, you know, advertising for the same post. You rather be, you know, fully prepared. So I would recommend make account on both these websites and apply for jobs. You can literally copy your CV if you've made already on one website, copy it onto the other one and start applying for jobs. A lot of IMGs don't talk about Trac jobs website. I actually got my first job in NHS from Trac jobs website. The advertisement which was on the Trac jobs for this trust wasn't on NHS jobs website. So if I did not know of this website, I literally wouldn't have gotten this job. The way I found out about Trac jobs was that someone had mentioned on the Facebook group. So I was like, hey, I never heard of Trac jobs website. So that's how I figured it out. But here you go, I'm letting you know right here that apply for jobs on both of these websites. These jobs that I'm talking about are basically non-training jobs, and you can join them at any given point in the year based on your mutual understanding between you and your employer. These are not training jobs. Training jobs, like I'd mentioned in all my previous videos, you apply on Oriel website, and training jobs only have openings during a certain time of the year. It's not open throughout the year, and there is a window period when you can apply. Trac jobs and NHS jobs website is not where you would be applying for a training job. These are the websites where you'll be applying for non-training jobs. And as an IMG, I'm assuming your first job that you should be applying for should be a non-training job and not a training job. I'll talk about it further down in the video, but I've mentioned it time and again. Please don't apply your first job as a training job when you're moving countries. So with regards to the training job, you would apply it on Oriel website. I've made a full-fledged video on how you apply on Oriel website and what are the requirements and everything on how I got into co-training in London. So I'll put up the link up above here so you can go and watch it. I'll leave it down in the description box as well. You can watch it after this video. So now that I've talked about where to apply for jobs, the next question is, what is a good time to start applying for jobs? So the answer you would get from various people would be very different based on people's experiences. I learned something from my own experience. What I would recommend you do is start applying for jobs right after you've appeared for your PLAB 2 exam. So the way it's going to work is that in case you do not pass your PLAB 2 exam and you start getting offered job interviews, you can always let them know that, you know, hey, I did not make it through my PLAB 2 exams this time. I'm so sorry, but you know, don't go through the interview, obviously because you don't have your GMC license yet. But in case, say you pass your PLAB 2 exams, what's going to happen is that, you know, the window period between giving your PLAB 2 exams and getting your results, it's a 4-week window period. So it takes 4 weeks for your results to come back. And if you start applying for jobs in those 4 weeks, you would start getting interviews right after you've already received your results, and you wouldn't waste any time. If you wait for your results to come out and then you start applying for jobs, it's going to take a while for them to respond back because there's a closing window period. So when the advertisements are put up on these websites, you don't start getting job interviews literally from the very next day, or you don't sit and interview the very next day. So a job gets advertised on these websites, and then there is a closing window during which this advertisement stays on the website. So during that period, people can keep applying. And once the advertisement is closed, only then they start sending out, job interview letters or emails. So it's not that you would receive a reply from the trust for an interview right away. It's going to take a while. Basically, they're going to wait for the advertisement to go off the website because they're going to give fair chance to people to apply. So that way you would utilize those 4 weeks that you're waiting for your results to come back. So say if a trust has, a few weeks when the advertisement is put up for, they don't have it for a few days. By the time you get your results, you would have few interview offers in your hand, which is a good way of managing your time. So this is one message I would definitely appreciate you spread it amongst IMGs, that you should start applying for jobs as soon as possible. The next question people ask me is, how many jobs should I apply for? I would say apply for as many jobs as possible, in the sense that obviously you should be eligible for those jobs. You're not going to start applying for consultant jobs while you've just done your MBBS. What I mean is that if you fit the criteria, what the job role requires, then you should apply for those jobs. Obviously, if you have specific interests, like, don't want to do a surgery junior job, then don't apply for it. If you don't want to do like a junior doctor job in medicine, then don't apply for it. I did not want to do a surgery job, so I did not apply for any surgical junior doctor roles. So I applied for a lot of medicine subspecialties, applied to all of them, and also to psychiatry jobs. I'll talk more about my journey later down in the video, but I would recommend apply for as many jobs as possible, unless you have restrictions or filters like I did, that I didn't want a surgical job. Then don't apply for the one you don't want to. There is no, cap on how many jobs you should be applying, so apply for as many as you can. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open up my own NHS jobs profile, which is from back in 2018. I haven't changed it once I got my first job, because after that I applied for a job on Oriel website, which was for my training job. So these are all non-training jobs. So this goes back to 2018, and I haven't changed it ever since. So let me log on to that. So I've got my NHS jobs profile over here. This is how it looks like once you've logged in. As you can see, my login's over here. This is where you click, and this is where your profile is. So this is basically, my profile is what your CV would be, and this is where it has different banners under which you would fill in all your details. So once I click on that, you can get an idea. These bits on the left side are basically the different banners or the different topics under which you fill in your information. Your CV fits in there. So it's not like a MS Word document where you've typed your CV and you just upload it, because they want to have a similar template for all the applicants. So once you go in, this is basically the first page, which is my personal information. Before I move on to, explaining what the profile looks like, I want to give you tip number 3 over here. So tip number 3 is that although you would have a basic skeleton or CV, which is almost similar when you apply for all jobs, I would say you should tweak it a bit based on which job you're applying for. Say for example, if you have a same boring template of CV and you send it to all the trusts for, even if it's different jobs, like say one is for surgical job and one is for medicine job and one is for psychiatry job, it would feel good to read someone else's CV when there's a personal touch added to it. Say for example, if you're applying for a junior doctor role in a psychiatry specialty, it would be nice to read if someone says that, oh, I've worked in psychiatry back in my home country, even if it's for a few weeks or months that you did it during your 12-month rotatory internship. Say things that you enjoyed, things that you learned in psychiatry, the different cases that you saw and how you would fit the role. Or say that you've done some kind of a research or you've presented papers back in your home country in psychiatry. So things like that. So if you add these little bit personal touches to your CV, which falls under the supporting information bit, that would actually up your chances of getting selected for interview. Say if you're applying for a junior doctor role in orthopedics. So if you write things like, oh, I did some minor procedures while I was doing my internship in, for a month in orthopedics in my MBBS days, or if I shadowed a major operation, or if I presented, PowerPoint presentations to my seniors, or if you have any feedbacks while you were working in that specialty. So if you add these personal touches to your CV, it would kind of up your game. Because if you write the same thing that, oh, I've done my 12 months internship, this is what was my experience, I'm interested said, in this job, that is something everybody is going to write. So if you think of, you know, instances where you have an upper hand, like if you've done something extra in that specialty, do add it to your CV. But obviously once you add it, they're going to ask you for proof. So make sure you don't lie about it. So yeah, so that is my tip number 3. Okay, going back to the NHS jobs profile, as you can see, so this is personal information where you've got your basic information. I've removed obviously the address bit right now because I saw it last night. I need to remove all that. I couldn't let you guys know my address in India. So yeah, so this is where you would write your address. Obviously don't have UK insurance number yet, national insurance number. You would get that once you get your tier 2 visa, so you don't have to fill anything in that. Write your address, work number, telephone number, and all of that. This was when I was applying for the first time. Obviously I didn't have a UK registered mobile number, so you would write my mobile number is not registered with UK, and you just write your Indian or wherever you're from, your telephone number from there. Then they ask, are you a British or Irish national or Swiss national? So you would say no, and once you say no, then they would ask you on what basis, you know, you're applying or where you are currently at with regards to the visa process. So at that point when I was applying for these jobs, I was obviously on a visitor visa, so write visitor visa, and there's a visa number which is mentioned, you know, once you get your visa on your passport, there would be a visa number written there, so just write that. Then it is pretty self-explanatory. You write your start date and the expiry date of your visa. Then obviously if you're on a visitor visa, you have restrictions, so you have like no work or, you know, access to public funds, so just write whatever's written on your visa. It would be written there, so just write that. Then obviously you're not an NHS professional returning to practice. This is the first time you're applying, and what would be your preferred employment type. I applied for only full-time jobs, and then you save and you continue. Okay, so this is basically how you fill in the bits. So this is your CV, and then there are other bits here like qualifications, employment history, referee, supporting information, and all of that. I am going to be making a part 2 of the video where I'm going to walk you through bit by bit on what I've written in all of these topics on the left side of the CV on NHS jobs profile, and because it's going to be quite a lengthy one and I want to take you through step by step, so I will be making a part 2 of that video. But anyway, I just wanted to say that the most crucial and important bit on the CV is your supporting information. Supporting information is honestly a game changer, because that's where you write, you know, everything, all the information that supports your case, that why they should be picking you for the job interview. So you would write everything about, you know, all the things you've done while you were doing your medical school, everything you did during your internship, if you had any kind of work experience. I'm literally just touching upon these things. I'm going to elaborately talk about it and show you my portfolio in the part 2 of this video. Another important bit which people don't talk enough about is basically in the supporting section is adding extra bits, like, you know, if you have any other skill set, like if you've done any extracurricular. And honestly, please don't underestimate the value of having extracurricular activities on your portfolio. They rather prefer someone who brings something extra to the table than someone who's only good at academics and has got good scores in their exams. So please do not underestimate the value of having extra skill set in your life other than just your academics. Talking about skill set outside of curriculum, today's video has been very kindly sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community which offers thousands of inspiring classes for people like you and me. They offer so many classes like for illustration, design, photo, video, freelance, and so much more. Whether you are a beginner or a pro, Skillshare is one place you can count on to learning something new or to sharpen your established skill set. They have classes to fit your schedule and skill level. Members get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes with hands-on projects and feedback from a community of millions. Personally, when I started learning how to edit, my go-to place was Skillshare. I learned most of my editing on the platform Skillshare, so I'm so freaking excited that they are partnering with me on this video. Another thing that I really got into during the pandemic was art, and I got really inspired with a bit of gouache painting. That's something that I had never tried previously. So one of the people whose videos I watched quite a lot was 𝐕𝐢𝐝𝐿, and she's known as the ink bucket, and I watched literally all her videos to learn how to do gouache painting. So one of the many things I love about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, meaning there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. So if you want to enjoy the benefits of this platform, then I'll leave a link down below in my description box. So the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on that link will get a free 1-month trial of Skillshare. Also, just a heads up, like I mentioned, there's going to be a part 2 of this video wherein I'm going to take you step by step of filling out the NHS jobs profile or the portfolio. So the part 2 of this video is going to be on Skillshare. So if you click the link down below in my description box, you get 1 month free trial and you also get to watch the part 2 of this video. So basically what the part 2 of the video is going to contain are bits like how to increase your chances of getting your first job in the NHS as an IMG, step-by-step guide on filling out your portfolio, and lots of tips on how to increase your chances, basically how to improve your CV while you're preparing for PLAB or appearing for PLAB or waiting for your PLAB results. Okay, back to the vlog. So many of you asked me what are the jobs that you should be applying for on the NHS Jobs or Trac Jobs website. Is it only foundation doctor jobs that you should be applying for? So there are a lot of job names or job titles which come under the umbrella term of junior doctor jobs. Things like SHO, FY1, FY2, FY1 equivalent, FY2 equivalent, CT1 equivalent, junior clinical fellow. So if you're someone who's worked for a few years post your internship back in India or from your home country, then you can obviously apply for jobs which are higher than, you know, FY1 equivalent or FY2 equivalent. You can apply for a senior clinical fellow job, or you can apply for a ST3 equivalent job. So these are all non-training jobs, like I said. The difference between training and non-training in simple words is that in training, there is progression in your career. In a non-training job, it's a contracted role for say a year or a few years, and there is no progression. So you wouldn't progress each year to the next job role to then become a consultant at some point. That doesn't happen in a non-training job. It's strictly like a contracted job, like how in India you would have these junior residency job roles after doing your MBBS for a few years. You're working with these hospitals while you're not doing PG. You're just working as a junior resident. Does that make sense? I'm not saying they're both the same things, just to draw comparisons. This is similar to that, where you're working for a strict contracted period with the hospital for a few years. You can always renew your contract once it's coming towards the end. Obviously, if your HR and your team agrees and you agree and you want to continue, you can always continue working over there as a non-trainee. Or like I did, after a few years, once you've settled in the job and in the system, you can apply for a training post. The reason why I've been saying do not apply for a training job right off the bat is because, first of all, you're moving to a new country completely. It takes a while to settle in, not just the work environment, but also in your own personal life. You're getting used to a completely different healthcare system. The reason I'm saying completely different is because you've trained, you've studied, and you've worked in a completely different country, in a completely different healthcare system. I'm not undermining your education or your knowledge or your work experience. You might be the very best back in India, but the job responsibilities and the job expectations are completely different here once you're in a training role. The first day of your work life in the UK and NHS is going to be a training job. There are going to be a certain kind of expectations from you because you're in training. So mind you, that's a lot of pressure, and there are a lot of job responsibilities just outside patient care. So that's the reason why I would recommend that you apply for a non-training job, even if it's for 6 months or a year, to get used to the system and then move on to a training job role. It would be quite beneficial for you and you would feel more settled in and you would really know what you're doing. All right, so this is the last bit of the video where basically I'm going to talk about my own journey, and I've written down a few questions to basically put structure to the timeline. So when did I start applying for jobs? I appeared for my exams, PLAB exams, in June 2018, and my results were due in July 2018. So it was somewhere mid-July when my results were going to come out. I started applying for jobs at the beginning of July 2018, basically around 2 weeks prior to my results coming out. I received my results mid-July 2018. I was applying for jobs the whole of July, the whole of August, the whole of September. So 3 months, literally every day I would go on these two websites, and if there was any new jobs coming up, I used to just keep applying to them. The question then next people would ask me is, how many jobs did I apply for? So mind you, because I did not apply for any surgical jobs, I only applied for psychiatry jobs and anything which was even remotely related to medicine. So these were the only two things I was applying for. I did not apply for surgery and I did not apply for pediatrics. So these are the two specialties I did not apply for at all. I applied for nearly 60 something jobs in span of 3 months. How many interview offers I got? So I got 5 interview offers, out of which I sat for interviews for 3. I didn't sit for the other 2 because by then I'd already accepted a job. So out of the 3 interviews that I appeared for, how many jobs did I get offered? I got offered 2 jobs. I didn't get offered one. So the third one which I didn't get offered was an A&E job, and they had quite a lot of expectations in the sense that I had never worked in UK A&E, and it's completely different to, you know, how it works in India. I completely agree with them. I had no prior experience of working in the A&E, so they, on the day of the interview, only to my face, they told me that, you know, I'm not going to get offered the job. I was like, fine, fair enough. Out of these 3 jobs, I sat 2 jobs via online medium, because at that point I was still in India applying for jobs, and the third one was in person. I don't want to take names of the hospitals. So yeah, so the job then that I got offered was basically in Southern University Hospital. I can say that because I worked over there, and I'm so glad I accepted that job because it was a brilliantly structured job for me to get into the system, get the hang of the system and understand the system better. When did I join the job? I got offered the job at the beginning of October. I came to UK for my GMC registration. By then, basically I had already had a job offer, and they knew that, you know, I was due for my GMC registration. So that's the reason how they offered me the job, because I had the appointment letter from GMC, so they knew I'm coming in to get my GMC registration done, and they asked me to send them the GMC registration copy once it's done. This was the beginning of October, and then obviously there is a lot of paperwork and, you know, visa work that goes in, and I also wanted to take some time to spend time with my family. I spent time in India in October and November, and mid-December is when I finally moved to the UK. So if you look at the timeline from my results of PLAB to coming in, which was mid-July, then I finally moved to UK in December. It is quite a long gap, but then that's because I took my own sweet time because I wanted to spend some time with my family as well. Obviously, it can be much quicker if you plan it better, in the sense that you start applying for jobs quickly, and also the fact that the way I came for my GMC registration, I was on a visitor visa. What you could do is, again, a tip is that you could come on a tier 2 visa even if you do not have your GMC registration. I know that sounds really confusing. I'm going to talk about this in another video when I talk about tier 2 visa, but yeah, a lot of people do that and it's quite possible, and how and why it's possible I will let you know in the next video. I know I'm being a tease again, but then I was a tease in a previous video as well. So yeah, so the further videos that are going to come after this would be the part 2 of this video, which you would watch on Skillshare. It will strictly be on the Skillshare website. I'm not going to put it up on YouTube. There's going to be next episode of PLAB series wherein I'm going to talk about NHS job interviews, everything that they ask you for, you know, how to up your chances of getting offered a job. And then I'm going to talk about tier 2 visa and how to structure your timeline as to not waste too much time in between appearing for your PLAB 2 exams and finally moving to UK on a tier 2 visa. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then you know the drill. Give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then please do. I also started a page called Buy Me a Coffee page. So if you want to thank me for all this free information and free tips, then you could sponsor my caffeine dose for every day. It's not compulsory. If you're not interested, don't watch this bit of the video. But if you are, then yeah, please do leave a comment when you do sponsor me a coffee. And if you have any specific coffee order that you enjoy at a coffee shop, then do drop it down. I would try that. So if you found this video useful, then I would highly recommend you watch this video about GMC registration. It's everything to do about what happens after PLAB 2 exams and gap years and submitting your EPIC verification, everything surrounding that. And if you're somebody new and you want to get more information about PLAB, then I would recommend you watch this, which has got all the videos related to PLAB. So it's a PLAB playlist, so I would recommend you watch that. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.